This is a video on sloths and how sloths are not a real animal. It's a giant hoax, and making up fake animals and putting them on the world stage and getting everybody to believe in them. It's something that a lot of countries participate in this, and they almost like brand their country sometimes with their fake animal. My mind just goes straight to China and the panda. They've like branded their country with their fake animal, even though there's no pandas in ancient Chinese art whatsoever. It's because it's a modern invention. Australia, very much branded, and we'll talk about Costa Rica later in this video, because it's like Costa Rica didn't really have the tech to brand themselves with the sloth until very recently. They're attempting to, but it's almost too little too late. Sloths are in almost every zoo, it seems, these days, and it really wasn't like that 20 years ago, and it's because robotics today are just way easier to develop than they used to be. So this video, I'll just play it and let you think. What do you think? Is that like normal? I think they're just showcasing off that little baby. Yes, the little babies are also fake, and the people in control of this place, it all comes out of Hollywood, really, a lot of this stuff. And they get people to believe in this stuff, and that's the magic. Once they get people to believe in it, it becomes real. And yeah, I think they're kind of showcasing off the little baby here, but nothing about that looks natural or real. It's just an animatronic, and they'll always have excuses for everything. These people, the clowns who control this place, full of excuses. They'll always have an excuse for why things don't make sense. And so I think the excuse on this one, they say that sloths, when their legs are relaxed, they're closed together. Their legs are closed when their muscles are relaxed, and they have to contract their muscles to release. And I mean, it could even be a sliver of truth to that. Maybe that's part of the robotic mechanism that they use for sloths, a type of hinge that naturally is closed and you have to press it to open it up. Who knows? But they'll have an excuse for everything, is the point. And if you're totally new to this topic, I have a playlist on fake animals. I've made many, many videos on all sorts of different fake animals out there. The great apes are probably the biggest deception of fake animals, because they need the great apes to convince people of evolution that you're just a monkey. So yeah, sloths are just animatronics, and something that I notice readily is that it's a new phenomenon. I tried looking at the end of this video when I was looking up to get slides for this video. I was looking so hard to find old images of sloths, and they just don't exist. I imagine that in times past, the sloths could be nothing other than just a taxidermy. So I don't know, that would be something to research, but try to find the oldest sloth stuff that you can find, and you'll see it really doesn't go back very far. And nowadays, it's so awkward. To me, it seems like they all come out of the same factory. They always have the same stupid little like stick between two poles set up when they wheel it out, and it's like on wheels. They wheel it out to show people. It really seems like it's a kit. Like people can buy a sloth kit, and it all comes. Very bizarre vibes around sloths and how they're just everywhere now. And similar to outer space, and if you notice, children's clothing full of sloths, children's programming full of sloths, and I think it's just a fake animal that they made up off of the concept of sloth. I think that the concept of sloth predates the made-up animal sloth. I think I got this whole article. I don't know, I'm going to read whatever's on the screen and just flip through the slides, but I really don't have a lot to say because I've already said so much. Check out my playlist. Norfolk's Virginia Zoo welcomes baby two-toed sloth. The newborn marks a new addition to the sloths exhibit at the Norfolk-based zoo's World of Reptiles. And sloths do just show up in weird places like that. Like, why is a reptile zoo getting a sloth? And again, I really think that there's some company out there pumping these out, and it's like a kit. It's an investment opportunity for these places because they always do the same thing. They always end up charging people to do the sloth encounter, where you get to go hang out with an animatronic for a little bit. Koalas are the same way. The Virginia Zoo announced Monday that it has welcomed a baby two-toed sloth to its collection. And always pay attention to the way that they talk about things. The diction, the very specific words that they use, it's so often telling. Who talks about animals like a collection? My collection of animals. That's the way that you talk about objects, not animals. The newborn marks a new addition to the sloth exhibit in the conservatory. They really do like words with con in them, C-O-N, because they are cons. Conservatory at the Norfolk-based zoo's World of Reptiles. The sloth arrived overnight. What wording? That sounds like a package. That sounds like a delivery. Like, again, like there's some company out here pumping out the sloths, and if you have the right connections, you can order overnight your sloth kit and assemble your stupid little tree thing yourself with an Allen wrench that they provide. Arrived overnight on April 17th and is the second offspring of its mom, Honey, and dad, Mervyn. Even though baby sloths are only 12 to 16 ounces when born, they are mobile from birth and can cling to their mother's undersides with their long nails. When they are born, the sloths are already covered in fur, have fully developed teeth, and their eyes are open. Greg Bockheim, the executive director of the Virginia Zoo, said the sloth's gender is unknown right now, since newborns have a tendency to cling to their moms to hide from potential predators. I really don't believe that if an animal was really born in the zoo, I mean, think of when a woman goes to the doctor. They do the same thing with the animals in the zoo. They rip the baby straight away from the mom and start inspecting it all over. They do that with the animals at the zoo too. They get in there with the doctor gloves and start doing their tests right away. I really don't believe that they would be, well, we don't know if it's a boy or a girl. It's just clinging to its mom. I'm pretty sure they would have grabbed the baby and inspected it for a couple minutes before giving it back. I wanted to zoom in on here because this does not look realistic to me at all. There's no life in those eyes. Those are taxidermy. So one thing I will say about the sloths, they've gotten really good at giving them that wet nose look. But I just think it's special effects. I think that they're just really good at making models. I mean, Madame Tussauds wax, they can make human-looking things out of wax. And I think that these traditions are really old. It honestly reminds me of... I've tried finding images of this again. I just need to get the right keywords. There's like these I don't know, who knows? These tribes, I don't even know where it is. Is it in New Zealand or something? But they have these whole body fursuits that they wear. And so making realistic looking animal things, furs, like fur trade, and all of those things are really old traditions, and you can make things look very realistic without needing what we think of as high-tech stuff. You don't need robotics and all that to make a realistic looking animal with just a needle and thread and glass and I think of it today, how even today, if you're an expert, say, instrument maker, or you're an ivory craftsman or something, you're using the same tools. You're using little chisels and lathes and nothing. You don't need to use a robotic something, high-tech, what we think of as high-tech. You don't need electricity to make a realistic-looking puppet. Anyways, taxidermy, it's a very old tradition, as is puppetry. And I'm gonna have to find that image again. Maybe some of you guys know what I'm talking about. There's some tribe out there that one of their tribes, like dresses, like ceremonial garbs, are these huge suits that it's like they make themselves way taller and it's just one fur color. It's like is that Cousin It, who's just all hair all over? But it's this huge fur thing. And it just goes to show you that you can be a native person and make elaborate fur suits. And if you're skilled, you can make good taxidermy without needing robotics involved. In the meantime, zookeepers won't interfere while the mom and baby bond these first few weeks. The baby will stay with its mom for 11 to 12 months, but will start climbing off when it is around 1 month old to explore its surroundings. And yeah, I do think that same with the suits, the fur suits, the like chimpanzees and stuff, I think that it's always in stages. They have a baby model, and then they'll need a teen model, and then they'll need like a young adult model. And so getting a baby is a huge investment, because it's not like you can just buy the baby and that's it. That's the end of it. And I think it would be really interesting for people to visit zoos and really keep a close eye on the youngins and watch them, grow up, and see if you just see stages where it's just like, wow, they look way bigger now. And they might even build it into the story. They might say, oh, Japoko, the chimpanzee, is sick right now, and you won't see him for a couple months, and then they come back looking larger. The reason that I mention this, or I don't want to forget about this, maybe I'll share this in another video. Sometimes I just flip around YouTube looking at random people's channel. I love to just, I see somebody's comment, click on them. Oh, they have videos. Let's watch some of their videos. And I recently saw a video of a guy. It was just not a big guy. Could be any guy who just. Although, have you guys noticed that it seems crazy how many people out there have like studios in their home? Anyways, it's just strange. I guess there's just a big culture today of people having their studio in their home with their fancy microphone and all that. It's just a weird vibe. But anyways, this guy doesn't have a huge following or anything. He just likes to talk about his day-to-day life. I only watched this one video of him. But to get to the point, he had a subscription to the zoo, and he liked to go there, and he was talking about the zoo, talking about the giraffes. And then when he got to the pandas, that's when I really started paying attention. He started talking about the pandas, and he said how he never once saw the pandas do anything other than sitting down. And if you know about my panda videos, you know that I believe that pandas are not real. They are actors in fursuits. It's like a mascot suit. And it is the mascot of China. Everything out of China is fake. People should be able to wake up to the panda thing. Everything out of China is fake. And so it shouldn't surprise you too much that their national animal is fake. Just this animal thing goes with all the other deceptions. Once you wake up to all sorts of other deceptions about how they lie to people about where they live, and anyways, everything is fair game for deception. I just want to make a point of, some people have a really hard time with animals because they have a soft spot in their heart for animals, and they often play with your heartstrings to get you to believe in this stuff. There's dime a dozen stories about tragic fake animals, and it's because they want to pull at your heartstrings. If they can get you to feel about it, then you already believe. If they can make you sad about a fursuit, then you already believe that it's real. Enough rambling. The zoo, here we go. They gotta make back their money somehow. The zoo is asking people to submit name suggestions for the newborn sloth for just $5. What? Why should it cost any money to give a name suggestion? Oh, just $5 to make a name suggestion? These are money grabs. The WWF? That, too. Why do you think that they took the name of the Wrestling Federation, which everybody knows is fake, but they like to pretend it's real? That's how deep this gets. The whole idea of wrestling, the WWF, is that everybody knows it's fake, but they like to pretend it's real because it's more fun that way for them. There's two different types of people in this world. People who love a lie and those who love the truth. And that's the only way I can explain it, because I can never put myself in that mentality. But these people are like that. They do think it's more fun to know something is a lie and go along with it than to tell people it's fake. And I mean, wrestling is a perfect example of that. it's when you talk about it being fake, it ruins the fun for these people. Same thing with the fake animals. They know it's fake, but the fun is going along with it. For them. The fun for me is exposing these freaks. That's fun for me. Telling people the truth is fun to me. I get enjoyment out of telling people about these truths that piss off the people who already know this stuff, but it was an inside joke. I love knowing that it pisses people off that it was an inside joke that gorillas are people in fursuits. These people get off on inside jokes. They want to feel special, like they're in on the secret, and like others are being duped. The last sloth, whatever. I'm already getting bored of these sloth things. Sleep all the time. What do you know? Like the koalas. Makes the battery last longer if they say the animal's always asleep. Sloths, a new national symbol of Costa Rica. I think the only reason that it's new is because Costa Rica was such a poor nation that they couldn't brand themselves correctly. Why are they just getting around to this? Well, because they finally are able to push the animatronic. And before, I would love to hear comments about in the past. Sloths in the past. Because I was born in the late 80s. So, but even I remember how sloths, I mean, they talked about them, but you didn't see a lot of them. And I know that you started seeing them all the time with those stupid stick things that they wheel out. It's like they started popping out of thin air. And I did recognize that. And I did also recognize that they started inventing all sorts of new lore about them. Like, oh, now they grow moss. And so that would be another good area of research is, and I actually did a little bit of that research here, so I'll show you. It's very helpful with the fake animals to go back in the past because they just rewrite history constantly. The suits get better. They start to write new things. They start getting off on having the gorillas stand up. So then they say, oh, gorillas walk like people. I think soon they're going to have the gorillas like making fires and stuff. Building huts and things. I think that's on the horizon. I think I see some duping delight here. Duping delight, the people, I said there's two types of people. They love a lie. Satan is the father of all lies, and I don't have any explanation other than there are children of Satan, and then there's children of God. The children of Satan, they love the lie just as equally as the children of God love the truth. And that is why they get off. They smile. It brings them joy to deceive people. That's what duping delight is all about. Duping delight should not exist. Duping delight shouldn't be a thing. Nobody should become smiley and happy and get joy from deceiving others. But these people do. That's why duping delight exists as a concept. It's satanic. Apparently sloths were discovered in the 1700s. I don't know. I'm going to flip through these really fast. I've already said everything I want to say for this video, but there's stuff about giant sloths. I don't know. I think that the current animal sloth is just based off of the biblical idea of sloth. This one looks really dopey to me and bad. The background here too. This is exactly what it looks like when I was growing up. Although, I mean, this is basically what it looked like. The koala at my local zoo growing up in the 90s, I knew it was a stuffy. I knew it was just a stuffed animal. And it was in a tiny little closet room, and it was painted like that in the background, and they would stick some eucalyptus in there, and it never moved because they didn't have the money for an animatronic back then in the 90s for a small zoo. Giant sloths? I don't know, maybe real, who knows? Look at this really bad one. I was trying to find old images at this point. I was like, I want to find an image of a sloth from the 80s. I want to find an image of the sloth from a sloth from the 70s. Very difficult. I'm telling you, they popped out of nowhere in the 2010s. Now, you'll probably be able to find some Nat Geo stuff, but you have to understand all of that Nat Geo stuff. David Attenborough is praised as because he's believable, because he can stand in front of a puppet and get you to believe that it's real. And so I've seen an older video of a sloth with David Attenborough. The sloth has a giant 7 on its back. But other than that, it's really, really hard to find old things. And even that David Attenborough, who knows? That was probably in the 2000s. Go ahead. Go try to find old images of sloths. Do you know any people that went to Costa Rica in the 70s or before that? Did they take you on tours to see sloths? Were they just like something in a tree never moving? Could it have been a stuffed animal put up in a tree? This one's looking pretty dodgy out of Nat Geo. Look at this one. And bright orange. There was a lot of bright orange involved with the sloths. So if you know about bright orange, that orange color right there. But even this, 2010. I don't know. I don't know when that image was taken, but okay, so this was an old thing of sloths that I could find, and it looks really good. It looks better than some of the sloths today, and it's all about the effort that you put into it. And that's why I went on that ramble earlier about, well, there's tribal people that make really good looking fursuits. Something looking believable. It doesn't have to be what we think of as high tech. Practical effects have always been very convincing. Fake eyes have been around for a long time. Fake eyes made out of glass, and they look amazing. They are so believable. So people just have this false idea of technology being necessary to deceive people. People think, well, that looks too good for the 60s. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Excellent puppet makers have always existed, and taxidermy has always been an art, and some artists are next level, and they can make real lifelike looking fake things. Because I think this was really good. Very believable. From the 60s. I think this looks better than a lot of them today. So what I found interesting about this article was that the lore was slightly different. Mary Jane Sloth, 9 months, demonstrating a preference for sleeping upside down. So the animals, I think that it will be obvious that the lore changes. And this actually matches the new video that started at the very beginning of this video. That sloth kind of was sleeping upside down in an awkward way, but more at an angle. Upside down almost makes more sense than the weird angle at the beginning of this video. But I thought this was interesting because I don't ever remember being taught about sloths sleeping upside down. A lot of times the lore for their fake animals, it comes and goes, it changes. It's the same way with outer space stuff. I remember being taught in elementary school that the light from the stars we see is long gone and dead, but it's kind of hard to find evidence that people used to say that lie all the time, but I know it happened. I know as a child people used to say that. So their lore retconning, it's like, why do these terms even exist? Retcon is a big idea, and it's because they do it all the time. They have to go back and fix their old history a lot of times because it starts to contradict what they talk about today. Sloths spend much of their lives hanging upside down. See, they don't talk about that now because that's just not a part of it. So how is that? Was this person just wrong? Oh, they just happen to have, no, it's that this is all BS and they make it up as they go. And sometimes they'll realize, yeah, I don't know, that doesn't really make sense. And then they change it in the future. But they get silly with it, with these fake animals. The whole sloths walking all the way down the tree to poop, that doesn't make any sense. But they don't care. They don't need their fake animals to make sense. Fake fur! I loved this one. Sometimes they'll point to an aspect of the deception that they're doing. Mary Jane initially slept in a basket full of towels, fake fur, and a hot water bottle to simulate living. That's what they're using, fake fur to simulate life. Do you see how it's kind of self-referential? It's getting meta here. Fake fur. Yeah, the sloth itself is fake fur. Simulate living. Yeah, the sloth itself is simulating life. Because it's a fake animal they're going to pretend is real. I think orangutans, doesn't this just look like a chimp today? I don't know. But these are all fake. They are very realistic. They are very convincing. They are very good at making these fake animals. But the deception is there. Why they do the deception is very clear. They need people to think that they're a monkey. Bernard, sir, isn't that a man's name? Check out my other playlists on the topic of men and women getting mixed up. It's a mixed up, muddled up, shook up world, and these people gender swap all the time. Bernard F. Gallagher served as substitute mother to the zoo's apes. Am I just confusing the gender? I have no idea what's going on here. Okay. She found that raising apes was similar to raising human children, and that her first orangutan developed at almost the same rate as her neighbor's child of the same age. I like how it's not her child, it's her neighbor's child that develops at the same rate as a monkey. You see the agenda here, though. Clearly, they've always been pushing this agenda, and I'm here to tell you the truth. There's no such thing as great apes. Small monkeys exist. Monkeys do exist. But great apes are a modern deception, and it's the way that it's how those in control prove evolution and prove that man came from a monkey, when the truth is that man was made in the image of God. Transition. Anyways, is this a 1970s sloth? Again, it was so difficult for me to find old sloth images. Looks good, but different, a little more ferocious seeming than the way that they portray them now as cute. It would be interesting to see if back in the day sloths were shown like this, like more ferocious looking. Because now it's all about how cute they are. They realized cute sells with the panda. Pandas are the koalas too, kind of. They realize cute sells. They make them the cutest and the fluffiest. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. And send this video to anyone you know who believes in sloths. God bless everyone.